Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So I've been looking forward to this day for quite a while now. As you can see, I have a stack of stuff up here on the hood of the Jeep, and we're gonna light this Jeep up. I've got front pod lights, rear pod lights, I've got rock lights. I already have fog lights, but they're not hooked up, so we're gonna get those hooked up. We have a winch, we have a rear license plate bracket. All that stuff's got to get on the Jeep. We're going to start with what's in this box right here. Let's get after it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright guys, so first things first, we have got to start with the brains of the operation here. And in this box we have a switch pod system. So we've got a 6-switch. Connection here is going to go above the driver's compartment, and we also have the box that goes under the dash that holds all the relays and stuff like that. So we're going to get all that installed. So let's get this hood open. In this box, like I said, we've got the switch controllers that go above the driver compartment, up top, like right above the mirror. We're going to set that aside for now. We've also got in this bag instructions, zip ties, a bunch of other little things. We'll figure those out here in a minute. Alright, so under the hood here, we're on the driver's side. We've got our washer fluid box, our CPU. This will be our distribution block for the brakes, and the new control panel for the switches is going to go right here. Okay, so we're going to use these two factory bolts to mount this in. So both of these bolt holes are oblong, so you've got some play as far as how you want this to sit in here. I'm going to start with it just like that. Okay, so now we've got all this wire. Let's get this clipped apart and see what we got. Alright, we're just going to carefully remove these zip ties. We've got a bunch of wire here. So this one here is our master power switch. So we got our breaker there. This should go to the battery, so that's going to be routed around the back of the firewall there. So let me get that untangled here. Now it is kind of neat. All this is wrapped in a nice sleeve here. Very nice, very clean looking. But you can see the red wire through here, so it's easy to tell these apart, so not any trouble there, so I definitely like that. We are going to kind of tuck this up underneath here. Not going to route anything at this point, but that will be going back around over there, so let's kind of lay that in that direction. And then these two, now this one looks like the negative, so we'll probably route that around the battery as well. I'll have to double check the directions, see where we're going to attach that. I think that's going to be attached to the negative in the fuse box, but I'll double check on that. And then this other one that actually has the connector on it and all the colored wires. So this has got the 6 wires. This actually goes to the switch panel that'll be in the cabin there. So we're going to look at routing this in that way. I'm not sure exactly how we go. We've got a grommet here we could potentially go through. That might be a good one. That looks like it goes up through the cowl. I'll also have to see from the engine compartment where we can pull that through and kind of figure that out. I want to see how this is going to lay out a little bit. Okay, so we got plenty of wire there. I'm going to need to find a good mounting position for this. I'm not sure. My first reaction is here. I'll have to see what kind of space I've got. There's not really another good place up here on the firewall. That's the only place I'm seeing at this point, but that'll lay out pretty easily there. Alright, we also have our negative that should route over there the same. Plenty of line there to get around, and I will keep this nice and clean and zip tie around some of the main wiring harness there, and both of these, like again I think the negative connects here into the fuse block and the hot to that, but I'm not sure. We'll get to that here in a minute. Alright guys, but looking at the instructions, going through everything, as you can see I've got the lid off the new box over there. I've got the lid off the fuse box over here, just checking things with the instructions so I know exactly what they're telling me to do, get a good understanding of everything. And so at this point I am going to start messing with some wiring, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the negative cable off the battery. Alright, so that wasn't nearly as tight as it should have been, so take note of that. Make sure that's nice and tight when we put it back on. And then we're going to take the cable on this and attach it to this post on the positive cable. Alright, so I will go through and make sure everything is all cleaned up under here. Once I've got everything connected and working properly, we will go through all that. I still haven't decided where I'm going to place this master cutoff here. I mean, it's naturally sitting right there, so that makes sense, but I'm not sure about that. We will just have to see on that. I wanted to show you, so the wire that's going into the cabin area, I'm planning on, there's a grommet right back here. You can see that there where my light is, and that goes into the cowl up here. And if you can see back into the cowl, there's an area that has the spray foam. I don't know if that's factory or not. I'm not sure. That seems odd for factory, but if I go around here, the cabin area, so I open up this side panel here, and you can see the spray foam on this side. So I'm planning on drilling this hole, the spray foam out from that hole, and this wire, it looks like the connector will just fit through that hole. So that's the plan with that. So I'm going to go ahead and drill that hole, see if we can feed that through. Yep. Alright, so got the wire run. You can see through where that grommet was in the firewall right there, and that did not end up going where I thought it did. But let me get you over to the cabin side. So I was gonna try to run it through here, which I drilled that out a little bit, but that didn't end up working out. So the wire is down here. Let me get the light on. So it did fall down the engine bay. I don't know that I can get you up there. Let's see if we can follow that. Alright, way up inside there, but we used just a wire fishing line to get that, and I say we, my dad stopped by for lunch and gave me a hand with that, so that was a big help. But we did get that fish through that grommet. I think that's probably the best way to go. I could not see any other place where wires were feeding through the firewall, so I think that's a good place. It does kind of, when you go in there, it does kind of go towards the outside of the car and then drops down into there. So it took a little finagling, but we got it to work. And on this side, so the wire back there, I pulled it up into this area, which you'll just kind of have to feel around back there. I found a hole that goes through this this metal bracing here, and then brought it out over here. It's pretty simple. Just kind of feel your way through there. And then we got it coming up behind this panel. This panel just popped out a little bit, was able to tuck it back in there, and then on up through here. Up top here, got a little play in this panel. Brought it through under the roll bar here, and then it was able to tuck right above the footman's loop, and then this panel popped down a little bit, and we've got it sitting right out there ready to get plugged in. Alright, so we got the switch panel here. I want to get that prepped. Where'd I put that piece? Here. So, in my little bag of tricks here, that bracket, and got a couple screws. So this is where it's gonna the middle footman loop is gonna go through there, and then I got this 3M tape that'll tape to that bracket. So what you want to do is just kind of get this prepped, so I'm not fighting with it in that area. At least take an Allen wrench, but they don't have. Let me grab one of these. I'm gonna get those too tight, just so they're ready to go here. Alright, let's take this in the cabin here. Alright, so first thing I'm going to get this connected here. That seems a little too far to the right there. I think I got the wrong one. Because I can't put that up there, so I wonder if they sent me the wrong one for a different Jeep. Alright, let me take a look at that. Alright, so I contacted the manufacturer to look at a different switch thing, or I did figure out a way I can make that work, but we'll see what they say. Right now, just so everything's out of the way till I hear back from them, we're just going to get some stuff kind of tidied up here under the hood here. So I'm going to see I'm going to get all these wires run the way I want them. Obviously not that big a deal. If I want to change something, I can always change something. These run up under here. Alright, so I got everything buttoned up here under the hood. just so everything's safe and I can drive it and everything. We'll wait to hear back from the manufacturer on getting a different switch panel, or like I said, I've got an idea how I can make that work if I need to. Just not ideal, but we'll see what they say and we'll go from there. Alright, so I'm still working with X-Brite on getting that switch panel situation figured out. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep going. I'm just not going to be able to finish until I figure out that switch panel. I do have a plan of my own if they don't get back to me in time, and we'll cross that bridge if we have to. So first thing I'm going to do, I've got pod lights here for the A-pillar. Let's get those put on. First thing, I've got brackets here from Nylite, Amazon products. So those are going to, wrong side. Those are going to mount right here. So I need to get these bolts off. Now these are star bit, torque bit. This is a 30 I've got here. Wrong way, Drew. And they also come with these nice pads. Keep wanting to do the wrong one here. Get that right, so we do it that way. Stick them to that. I'm just winging this. I'm not reading the directions. Directions are for weenies. No, they're not. I'm just kidding. But this is pretty straightforward yet. So, sticky pad. Keep that from scratching up my not amazingly beautiful paint. Stock bolts back in. Didn't come with bolts, so I'm assuming that's how we're going to roll. Nice and solid. Alright. And then we got our pod lights here. Also from Nylite. Looking good. And those have these brackets with them. And all the hardware. Be careful with that. And those don't even have instructions. Oh, that's good. When looking at instructions, don't even have them. There's a QR code I can pull up. Yeah. Alright. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so we got these brackets. Looks like they go in between the fins here. Forward or backwards? Go with that. This is honestly kind of tricky. It really should come with instructions. Maybe I should pull this up. So these small screws are going to sit in there, and you got these just kind of drop down in there. There's not really an easy way. There's not really an easy way to get those in place there. Like that. Okay. Then you've got obviously a lock washer that goes with them. Really seems like there could have been a better design on how these go together, because this is I mean, truthfully, this is complicated. So if you can see, the bolt slides down in there, and there's a notch there, and then you got a lock washer that's got to sit there, and this it's got to slide in. Yeah, I'm going to do it without the lock washer because that's just... Alright, that side's started. You got an Allen key tightening that down. And we'll deal with positioning later, obviously. Alright, who noticed I just put that on upside down? Everybody, Drew. Everybody noticed. Alright, there's a hole in the back here of the bracket for the wiring. And then for now, I'm just tucking the wire in there. And just to finish off the aesthetics, we'll cover there. Alright, repeat process on the other side. Hopefully a little simply. Hopefully a little more simply. Little simpler. Alright, finish touching on this side. We're going to put our blue cover on here. Alright, and then we're moving to the back of the Jeep. Alright, so on the back of the Jeep, we're going to set up some rear spotlights. If we are hitting a trail in the dark, a little backup. But honestly, dead to day, this is probably going to be just help me see backing out of the driveway in the winter time, getting ready for work and stuff like that, since this is my daily driver. Again, we've got nightlight spots. These are a little different design. This is just what came with this kit. So we've got 2 spots for that. And this bracket that goes around the trailer hitch. I went around and around trying to figure out the best way to do this. I thought about mounting something right up here, which would be a good option. There are some holes already in here, but you're going to have obviously very limited space under the tailgate opening and closing. I also didn't want to mount anything underneath because I didn't want to rip it off if if I'm doing a trail or something like that. I didn't want to just get those just torn off there. So I went with this option here. So we're going to fasten that around the trailer hitch, and I am going to put the lights on the top side so that they will be above any possibility of getting knocked off on the trailer or anything like that. So first thing, we need to loosen this up. I'm going to take this cover off here. This is really nice. It looks like, we'll know when I get it apart, but it looks like this lower bracket is just lower part of this bracket is just threaded, so you don't actually need a bolt on the back side here. A lot better design than the front ones. So those just sit. And I do want those out as far as I can get them, so they don't get in my way of the hitch pin. As you saw, I do have that hitch cover that I run. It's not really a big deal, but on occasion I do throw a trailer hitch in here. I don't do that very often, but I want to be able to get to that when I need to. Alright, that's nice and tight, very sturdy there. Actually moving the whole Jeep. Alright, so this is going to bolt into the bracket here, and then this bolts in to this angle piece, so you can kind of, tip it up and down. So that's pretty nice. So let's get this that's not going to be very easy to get to. That should be pretty easy. So we're going to get this bolted. Get this bracket bolted down first. That's pretty nice. Fits right in there. Keeps it from moving side to side. Then the bolt on this is already installed there. And obviously that'll give you the option to go back and forth, so you can move it out to the outside, inside, however you want to. Alright, I was afraid of that. I'm kind of getting some interference from these bolts here. Alright guys, got the pod lights hooked up, so let's get them wired. I was going to wait on that, but I want to go ahead and get something finished. So I've got some 14 gauge wire in red and black to run these first together, and then to the box there for the switch panel. So I also have some waterproof crimp and shrink butt connectors. So let's get these wired up. Alright, so first thing I did was take the two screws out of this cow panel here, so it's loose, and I can kind of tuck the wires under there and then under the hood here. So we've got, coming out of here, we've got a red and black wire. Those are already pre-stripped, so I'm just gonna tighten those up here. Alright, so on this side I'm gonna go ahead and get these screws out of the cow here. I got these wires ready to go to the other side. So obviously we're going to hook up red to red and black to black. Alright, then we're going to take our heat gun here, get that the shrink tube shrunk. Alright, so I'm going to pull up on this. Alright, so I got the wire running over to this side. Get these connected together. enough just to get there. Alright, the switch pod kit came with these connectors, so we're going to go ahead and use those. Got the wire stripped and trimmed down there. Alright, I'm going to connect these up to the number 2 switch, and these are numbered back here. And I'm doing that because I want to put my regular fog lights on the first switch, because I assume I'm probably going to be using those the most often. But that is it, and that is exactly why I bought the S-Pod system. Alright y'all, so decided to tackle the front fog lights that are already mounted in the bumper, and as you can see, things got a little bit sideways. So as you can see, I got the wiring connected, but the issue that I had is that the previous owner, these fog lights came in my original bumper. This is not, I put this bumper on and just used the fog lights in there. Well, the previous owner, or whoever, the last owner of the fog lights, cut those really short. So I couldn't do it in place. I just couldn't get things in line there, but I was able to get that one connected. This one took a little bit more work. These were shorter. I had to do a connection here just to get them far enough out to get a decent connection. So I had to use some other connections on that, and went ahead and did some shrink tubing on that just to keep it, hopefully keep it watertight there, and then the watertight shrink tubing connections I was using on everything else on these wires. And I've got this length of wire ready to go to run up to the cab. So now we need to get the bumper back on and get those wires run. Fortunately, getting the bumper back on is not a big deal. If you replace one of these bumpers, you know there's just 4 bolts on either side. Not a big deal. On this Fab Force bumper, they are basically permanently mounted in there, so I don't have to even worry about keeping those bolts steady while I put the nuts on. They are permanent in there, so it makes it fairly simple. Just a 17mm socket, a little extension, good to go. Alright, so I got the wire run. Just attached it to the wire loom that was already up front there in the front frame rail. Pulled it up through the engine bay by the radiator. Tucked it under the box here. Alright guys, got the wires loomed through here. So I just, and the ends attached, so I just need to attach them to the screws in the back. And I'm putting these in position 1, because like I said before, I think these are probably going to be the ones I use most often. Alright, what's up y'all? Back on the Jeep today. It's a little warm and a lot humid in Ohio today, so it's getting a little sweaty up in here. Got the old winch unboxed, just sitting in place. Got to bolt it down, hook it up. We were at a little Jeep event last night, just a little gathering, and my wife's like, you know, winch really does change the whole look of the Jeep. It's like, well, I guess that's what I'm putting on next. Actually, bolting this up wasn't too bad. Having a light in there, I was able to see pretty well to line up the back holes, which gave me the ability to line up the front holes. Winch also came with this, I forget, Fairlead, is that right? Having a brain fart. For now, I'm going to use a supplied hook just to get this mounted up here. Got the winch all wired up. Got our Fairlead, or not Fairlead, yeah, Fairlead remote hooked up here. power. Alright, we got a winch. So one more thing I want to do here, we're going to take this big ugly hook off. We will keep this in our bag of recovery gear just in case. But I got another piece of jewelry to put on this beauty. That is so pretty. I love the color of this blue. Yep, sure do. Love the color of this blue. It's going to look amazing. I just don't want a big hook just banging around down here. So I'm going to get this hooked up here. You know that took some concentration because the tongue came out. There we go. All right, we're gonna bring it nice and tight. There it is. Ah, love it. But now I'm sweating, I'm hot, I'm tired, it's starting to get dark. I'm gonna go spend some time with the family, but I'll catch you in just a minute. For me, it'll be tomorrow. Alright guys, it's morning time here for me. We're on day 4, maybe day 5. First we're gonna hit the rock lights, get those installed. I'm still trying to figure things out with the switch panel. The company's been very responsible. The company's name is X-Bright. They've been very responsive by email. I called. We've been going back and forth through email since then. They offered to extend my Amazon return time to send that back. And I don't want to do that, obviously, because everything's pretty much installed except for just that overhead switch panel. So I'm leaning towards just modifying that and making it work. So I'm going to think more on that while I do these and decide what I'm going to do about that. I've got a couple other things on the list to work on if I get this stuff done. We'll see how much time I have. Alright, let's take a look at this rock light kit. So again, this is an Amazon product. Or a product I bought off Amazon. It's not an Amazon company. I prefer to buy American stuff. Amazon's just so convenient, easy returns, low prices. It's hard to beat. It's hard to compete with. This is a highly rated kit as far as customer feedback. So let's see what we got. Looks like we got a couple remotes and some pigtails in here. Keychain remote, a handheld remote, and LED controller. So let's take a look at that further. Alright, looks like we've got a an on-off switch here and a fused link. Let's take a look at that. I don't think we're going to be using that because we're going to be running through the switch pod. Alright, looks like some adhesive backing and some connectors there. Possibly a couple extension wires. Probably will need those. We've got our pod, so I've got a 6-link kit. I'm going to go plan on each wheel well and then in the middle along the rock sliders frame rails there. Screws and instructions. Looks pretty simple. I'm going to take a little closer look at this. Got your lights going through your controller. So you got a fusible link there, and then the on-off switch. Alright guys, I'm exhausted. Alright, so the rock lights are a big fail. I will admit, part of it is possibly my inexperience. I've never done rock lights before. I don't have a whole lot of experience, extensive experience running wires through my vehicle, fishing them through small openings in the fender, stuff like that. That being said, this kit is cheap. The connectors do not stay together. I have taped up most of them. Where'd I put it? When I was fishing on the other side, when I was fishing it through the fender, the connector completely came off. You can see it there. Now, I was being as careful as I could, trying to fish it up through there, and it just shredded the tip of that. 2 of the pins are in there. 2 of the pins came out with the wire. This kit is going back, and I guess I'm going to without rock lights. We'll get the rest of the stuff hooked up and working. There is the box. There is picture and the name, SUZKO or SUZCO. And if I'm not mistaken, the picture on the front of that box is the picture on their ad for the rock lights. So I do not recommend this kit. It was customer rated well on Amazon. It was not terribly expensive. It was more expensive than some kits, cheaper than others. And I think it's very, very cheaply made, and I'm not keeping it. I'll spend a little bit more money and get something nice. Alright guys, I just want to make sure I record this so that I have evidence. Where's my connection? Alright, so you have, here's the female end, okay? It's got a little push tab to release. Here's the male end, okay? It's got a little tab here to catch, okay? Putting those together, all the way together. Push them together, all the way together. Pushing down that tab, make sure it's in place. They come apart. I was not pushing on this. Alright, let me do it again. Put them together. They're all the way together, and we push down that tab. Okay, so the release button is right there. Okay, not going to touch it. I'm going to push on the button to make sure it's latched. This is the side where it latches. Fingers are not on the release button. Comes right apart. This is why these are cheap. This is why I'm pissed. Other than the fact the other connector just came right off the wire. But I'm more pissed. I've wasted almost 5 hours getting all of this run and hooked up, and I was literally almost done. So, yeah. Alright, so we're going to try to put this panel in here. So my plan, I'm going to block the light there so you don't have shadow. My plan was to tap another hole just like this, swivel this piece over so it was more in the center, and just create my bracket, and cut one of these out, cut this same piece out if I needed to. I'm not going to do that at this point, because I may still come to some kind of agreement with the manufacturer and do something with this. What I'm going to do in the meantime is just slide this over the loop there to hold it. Use the tape on the back, and there are screw holes as well. So I'm going to have tape, screws, and the bracket holding up here. So There's tape on the inside. Sorry, I have the light in the way. There's tape on the inside, 3M tape. There's screw holes I'm going to use. And this is going to be sitting up on the footman's loop, holding it in place. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do here is remove this tape. Cover off this two-sided tape. We're going to connect these two together. So that's up there. It feels secure. Get those screws tightened. Now I just have to figure out what to connect the sunshade to, because I can't connect it to the footman's loop anymore. Thought about connecting it to this little bracket that came attached to it, but I don't want it pulling on that. But I definitely need to pull this up so it's not just in the way. I don't even care if it's all the way, just up there, but that's a different issue. Now let's get the wiring under the hood finished. I still got this wire that goes to the fuse box and the negative side to hook up. Alright, pop the fuse box off. Lay it out of my way and grab that other fuse and the fuse link. I'll tell you what, guys, I am losing things. I think I'm losing my mind. I'm just tired and hot and frustrated. Just want this to get done. I just had heat shrink in my hand. On the floor. Dropped it. Alright. looks like my battery might be getting low, so if I lose you, I will catch you back after dark, assuming everything's working. Alright guys, it worked. We got lights. Wow, that was a lot. So, gotta remember my successes. We got a working winch, we've got working fog lights, we've got working pod lights on the A-pillar, and the switch pod system is all hooked up and working. Kind of weird, like the ones are sixes and the sixes are ones. That was weird, but had some hurls jump over, but we got it working. Rock lights and the rear lights, I got new ones and they're ready to go on. So in the next video, we're going to do that. Thanks for watching this video. Again, remember Project 1511 is a non-profit organization. Jeep stuff, that's mine, that's out of my pocket. Nothing from Project 1511 goes to working on my Jeep. This is just stuff I'm doing, stuff I'm working on. But we got some stuff coming for Project 1511 as well. Really excited about this. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support of Project 1511. God bless.